Well, Bryce, in this first episode, we're focusing on building the right mindset. And by the end of this episode, we're going to be aware of the common limiting beliefs when it comes to money and investing.
Yep.
How we recognize those beliefs in ourselves. Well, I don't know if you do, but I certainly see them in you all the time. How we think about money and investing today, how we've changed our mindset. And then we want to leave with some actionable steps. 3 key changes everyone can make to improve their money mindset in 2024.
Great.
Now, we're not going on this journey alone. There are thousands of people listening to get started investing and taking similar steps to us.
Yes. Let's hear from them.
Hey guys, my thoughts around the FIRE movement is that it's a really great tool for young people to start getting investing. It just gives them that thought that if they put their money away for a long time, that eventually the stock market will look after them into the future, and then give them that financial freedom once they get to about 50 or 55 or whatever age it is they want to retire and move on with another part of their life, whether that's working less or simply retiring and spending more time with their family and friends. Cheers guys, bye.
Hi Equity Mates, big fan of the show. So regarding the FIRE movement, I'm definitely all for it because I'm an immigrant from Indonesia where I see some of my relatives are still working well over 60 years old to still fund their family. So I definitely don't want to go down that pathway. If I could be work optional by 40, that would be amazing.
Hey guys, Josh here from WA. I think the financial independence part of it is the important bit. You want to be able to live life how you want to live life, and maybe work is going to be a part of that. So maybe you don't want to retire early. So I think if you focus on the financial independence bit and set yourself up right in the first place, listening to podcasts like you guys, I don't think you can go wrong. And if you want to retire early, you can. If you don't, you can keep on working. Love what you do.
All right, so Bryce, money mindset.
Yeah, we're talking money mindset. I think it's important. We must firstly understand what is money mindset.
I mean, that was set up with just me saying, all right, Bryce, money mindset. You could have just gone into it. But anyway.
Money mindset is your set of beliefs and attitudes about money that importantly then dictate how you think about money and the decisions that you make when it comes to money. And those decisions are based around spending habits. They're based around how you think about investing. They're things like your risk tolerance, the goals that you set yourself. It's what is your core belief that actually dictates the decisions you make financially.
Let me give you a specific example from a really good book on, building financial independence. And we're actually going to talk about it a little bit through this series. The book is called Millionaire Next Door, and they profiled a number of people who have got $1 million and, what their spending habits are, and importantly, what their relationship and mindset around money is. And they class people, and one thing that they found is people that are under accumulators of wealth, people that earn high salaries but don't build a lot of wealth, they have this mindset that you can always earn more money. Money is a renewable resource. And so then they're not being intentional with the money they are earning because they're like, I'll be able to earn more later. Like that's a mindset that then affects how they relate to money.
Yeah.
And we all have those mindsets in how much money we think we'll earn, what we think we can do with it, a whole bunch of things.
Yeah. And the reason we've started this series focusing on mindset is because it is imperative that you develop a positive mindset that then sets you up to make the right financial decisions to help you get to your whatever you determine as your financial independence.
So one of the more frustrating things, we've just come off Christmas, and one of the things that always gets me is when I'm speaking to my cousins and stuff like that, they're always like, oh, it seems like Equity Mates is going well. It's not for me. I'm not an investor. Or it's not I'm too young to start worrying about that stuff. Oh, the other one is I don't earn enough to listen to you. And it's that's a mindset that you need to recognize and change before the rest of this series becomes relevant.
Yeah.
And the irony is because they have that mindset, none of them are actually listening to this episode about changing mindsets.
Yes.
But anyway.
So we're going to focus on the money mindset around investing. But even if you think about your group of friends, I'm sure you could identify different money mindsets within your group. Like there's the scrimper who hates to dish out. There's the savers
Yeah,
who want to
yeah.
just be in cash. There's the
There's
I don't think about money, I just spend.
There's the Bryces that never do your beam requests.
That's not true.
There's the Alfs that never shout around at the pub.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
a lot of those.
Anyway, so I think what is so some common limiting beliefs that I think we recognize in ourselves or in our friends, but are quite common. I mean, the most obvious one is I'm bad with money.
Yeah. Head in the sand, bad with it, not going to deal with it.
Yeah. Or just it's like a fait accompli. Like it's just I'm not going to do well.
Resigned to it.
Yeah.
Then there is, you've already mentioned it, investing is only for those with money. You need to be rich to invest. I don't have enough money to invest. Very limiting belief when it comes to trying to set up your investments. Then there's it's too risky, I'll lose money. That's specifically related to investing, but a limiting belief around the risk that comes with investing in the stock market. And then there's I don't know enough. I think that's a classic one that we've experienced many times, Ren, throughout the course of doing Get Started Investing in Equity Mates. People just don't think they know enough to get started investing.
Yeah. There's a few more that we've already mentioned in this episode. I'm too young. I don't earn enough. I think one that you may not think is a limiting belief, but becomes quite limiting is I can always earn more. Yeah. And then another one that you see a little bit, and I certainly was guilty of, I guess, pre-Equity Mates, that the system, the stock market, the economy is all rigged, like it's just big corporations getting richer and screwing us and, trying to get crumbs off a table that we can't access.
So if any of those relate to you, or you're sitting there thinking, you know what, I know someone who suffers from these limiting beliefs, the good news is that you can change them and that you can make a positive difference. And we'll get to that in a moment. But Ren, before we do any of those resonate with you? We've been investing quite seriously now for many years, and I'm sure the limiting beliefs that we started with are perhaps different to the ones that we have now. What's been your process?
Yeah, I don't want to throw my family under the bus here, but I'm going to. Yeah. Well, and so my grandparents, they had an individual stock investment that went quite poorly. And I think that coloured our whole family's view around investing. It's probably genetic because my investment with Slater and Gordon also went quite poorly. So, but I think because of that, we had there was a view that doing well in investing isn't for us. It's it's not something that we are ever going to have. And there was just a limiting belief that it was it's not for us because of that. It kind of turned our family off it. And it was really only when we started doing the podcast that changed. So it wasn't we're bad with money generally. It was more just a view that we're not going to have a good investment return. So why bother? Yeah.
I think it's a good point. I think my core money mindset is entirely built off what I learned from my family, from a young age. Yeah, I think that would be the same with a lot of people. Your money mindset.
I think it's beyond money, bro. I think.
Oh yeah, that's parenting.
Yeah.
Welcome to our values podcast.
Do you have many we've made a lot of hay about the way that you were brought up with investing when you're young and building good money habits when you're young? Do you feel like you have many limiting beliefs when it comes to money?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I'm quite conservative for what I could be right now, if that makes sense.
Big Scott Morrison voter. That kind of conservative?
Yeah, that kind of conservative. No. It's taken me a long time of the last sort of few years post uni to really get comfortable with taking riskier decisions to sort of grow wealth faster. And I think about how my parents taught me about money, and that was obviously through the lens of investing, but it was with a conservative lens. So it's not a bad limiting belief. I think it's probably better with money to be on the conservative side, perhaps. But I think secondly, right now, there's still a level of just general knowledge. And, like once you move up the risk curves and start thinking about different asset types, there's just that, like, do I know enough to actually make these decisions? And so that's something that now that knowledge, do I know enough, is a limiting belief that I need to just keep reminding myself of, that 95% of fund managers out there don't seem to really be able to beat the market, and what we're doing is more than enough. So I also think fear of losing money is still one that I really battle with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know that I'm at an age where it's okay, and I know that broadly you can, if you're not being stupid with how much you're putting into markets, you can limit how much you lose, but still the fear of losing money is a limiting belief.
So I guess then the question becomes, how are you changing those mindsets? And changing mindset might be the wrong framing, because in some instances you can't change a mindset, but it's about like recognizing and controlling for that mindset.
Yeah, good point. I think I don't want to lose the fear of losing money, because then I'll probably be more reckless. But I think the way I tackle that is just being conscious of the downside and how much I'm putting into that said asset class. Let's take crypto, for example. Like, yes, there's the fear of losing the money, but what I'm putting into that, I need to be comfortable losing that. And so it just comes down to asset allocation, I think, at the end of the day. And just taking bets in the market that are reasonably safe, like ETFs and those sorts of things. Like the probability of losing money in those versus lithium specky stock or whatever. That's how I kind of manage it, is in asset classes that have traditionally not lost everyone a whole bunch of money. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever lose that, but it's just knowing that it's there and actively making decisions that try and reduce that fear.
Yeah, I think like listening to that, the underlying thing that you didn't say there is that like your answer around like getting into asset classes that traditionally have done well, like underlying that is like being more educated on like the different risk levels and returns over time, and like all of that stems from like education. Yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Do you have any right now?
Limiting beliefs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm in a pretty good place from a financial mindset. I certainly have had them over time. I think for me, the biggest thing, like, yeah, obviously education. We're in a really lucky position where we've been able to make this our full-time job, and we get to speak to a lot of experts, and we have some of Australia's best financial advisors coming through the doors, and like that gives us a real privileged position that a lot of people don't have. But I think the thing that got me over a lot of those mindset challenges wasn't just the education, but it was the actual experience of it. And we've now we've now like invested long enough that we've gone beyond that initial excitement and like understanding what compounding is in theory. Yeah. And like, I don't know about you, but I'm like starting to see it in my brokerage accounts. It's like,
you're seeing compounding.
Yeah, bro.
Whoa.
And it is the eighth wonder of the world.
This guy.
And I think that experience of like, first of all, early days investing. Well, I mean, early days for me, I lost everything. But then like after that, early days, seeing how the market worked and understanding it a little bit more, not just from reading about it, but actually seeing it in action. And then over time, dollar cost averaging in, compounding, buying individual positions, some going well, some not going well. Just that lived experience starts to overcome. Well, you start to like have a new mindset, and it starts to override a pre-existing mindset. And so, the family history of losing our shirt and that sort of coming down, like now that is sort of being overridden by my own experience, where you start to see compounding work, and it's like, oh, okay, this isn't as scary as we sort of thought it might be. And, the level of risk on a broad-based market index is entirely different to the level of risk on an individual stock. And you don't understand that from the outside, because They both look the same when you log into your brokerage account. They both show up as lines on your brokerage account. So they both have stock charts. They both have tickers. But again, like to this education point, you start to understand that they're entirely different things with entirely different risk and return profiles. So I think for me, it's like, just education and experience, which is hard for people who are new to get started investing and new to this stock market, because they don't have that.
Yeah.
So I guess just take it on trust that you'll get there. Welcome back to our Get Started Investing Summer Series. We are on our journey to financial independence. We're taking the first step here, one of 6 steps. Change your mindset, change your life, Bryce. It's a lofty ambition, but that is the power of investing.
It's amazing.
Before the break, we spoke about money mindsets, like some of the limiting beliefs that we have and that, everyone has them in different aspects of life, but especially when it comes to money, that it's too risky, that it's not for me, that I can't do it, that I don't need to do it yet. And we spoke about how we have overcome some of those beliefs in ourselves. And really it's come down to jumping in and educating ourselves and experiencing it and starting to understand this whole world a lot better, which is great for us who are 6 years into doing an investing podcast for us to sit here and say that. But what about for people who are not 6 years into their investing journey, who are at the beginning and they're trying to overcome these cognitive biases or limiting beliefs? What are some things people can do from day one to recognize and confront those limiting beliefs?
I think firstly, recognize your biases and limiting beliefs holistically. Don't just think about it from an investing point of view, because there are probably things that you are doing in other money areas that impact how you then think about investing. i.e., if you're thinking that I don't have enough money to invest or get started, but you're an impulse buyer and you're out there spending like crazy, it's probably worth actually looking at your spending habits before you then think about how can I invest in the stock market. So it's understanding your spending. Are you impulse buyer? Are you buying for gratification right now? Maybe you should think about how you can delay gratification. Should you be budgeting more and isolating money so that you're not accessing cash? So I would start by looking holistically at how you think about your total money setup and recognizing where you can make changes there to then allow you to start investing in the stock market.
Yeah.
That's the first. What about you, Ren?
Well, I think I think one that I think there's a group of limiting beliefs that you could sort of cluster in now's not the time. And it's like, I don't earn enough. I'm young. I can deal with that later. Now's not the right, the economy is looking shaky. Now's not the right time. There's a lot of I'll deal with it later. And I think now is the time. And there's no way to overcome that other than for I guess just to say it and to say it over and over again. There is one superpower when it comes to investing, and that is starting early. And so it's so hard to catch up if you don't start early. In our latest book, Don't Stress, Just Invest, we did some worked examples that really tried to illustrate that. Starting early is the only superpower you have. So even if it's small, now is the time. I guess that's an education one. Understanding the power of compounding helps you overcome that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you might have to show everyone your portfolio, bro, so we can see the impact
bro,
of compounding.
It's pretty amazing.
Some other ways that you can change your mindset, just to close out, we've spoken about on the show, tools and tactics around automating and organizing your money so that it removes the emotional aspect from it. It removes your negative mindset.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most important one for me. It's especially early days, the negative self-belief and the limiting beliefs and all of that stuff, it's all still there. And so you build the habits to not have that stop you.
Yes.
And automating it is the best way. And again, to plug the same book again, Don't Stress, Just Invest, was really designed for that, how you can automate your investing and get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think find your own way. I think a limiting belief for when they first start is that there's only one way to invest, or you hear about value investing or you hear about growth investing, and I think understanding who you are, your personal goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizons, and not comparing yourself to others can help you then form more positive mindset about yourself and not looking at how others are doing it. There are many, many ways to make money in the stock market. The ultimate goal at the end of it is for you to make money your way.
Yep.
If that is completely different to the person next to you, that is fine. So don't compare and find your own way to invest, which does honestly take a bit of time. It's not something that you decide on day one. This is who I am as an investor. You might think that's who you are, but it'll take time.
Yeah, and I also don't think you need to have that before you start. Like if you feel like you need to figure out how what works for you as an investor before you start, you'll never get started.
No.
But the only way you figure that out is by starting. Yeah. So Bryce, before we get to the 3 key actions that everyone can take to kick off 2024 in the right way, I think let's put a bow on the mindset side of it by what is the investing mindset that we're all striving for? Like when we are thinking about investing in 2024, what should we be thinking?
That I can take a positive step in building wealth over a long period of time, and that there are tools and resources available no matter my situation for me to make progress towards that goal. Regardless of what I think about how much I earn or how much if I'm rich enough or I don't know enough, the mindset should be that there are tools and resources and education and everything you need at your fingertips to actually get started.
Put that on a bumper sticker. Yeah, I think like distill it down. You can make $1 million in the stock market. You have enough money to get started. The time is now.
You can make $1 million in the stock market over time.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
What else? It's not as risky as you think.
Yes.
Or there are ways to do it
Reduce
where
the
it's
risk.
not as risky.
Yeah.
You know enough, you can learn enough, and you have good enough money habits to get started.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing you need to do before
Yes.
you take that first step.
I
There's
don't
no
need a degree.
you don't need to have, a certain amount. Well, I mean, it's good to have an emergency fund, so we'll put a pin in that. But, you can start today. There are no hoops you need to jump through, no boxes you need to tick. Like, you can get started and you can start building wealth, and building wealth is within your grasp.
You can invest your way to the lifestyle you want.
Put that on a bumper sticker. There we go. All right, Bryce. Well, if we want to invest our way to the life we want, what are some key actionable steps that we can take to start the year?
Well, I think this one encompasses what we've just spoken about, but make a small start to something that you've been putting off all year. Anything.
Bro, we've just started 2024.
Last year, 2023.
I've been putting it off for 2 weeks.
Make a small start to something you've been putting off last year. That could be the smallest thing, i.e. signing up to a brokerage account. That's all you need to do. Downloading an app.
Buying our book.
Yeah, buying our book. Listening to one more podcast. Just something that you've been putting off. Make a really, really small start to that. What else?
I think continue to educate yourself is a big one. But be mindful that the best way to educate yourself is through experience.
So get started.
Yes.
Yes.
Are we sounding like a broken clock?
I know. And I think...
No. Have I just
Broken
butchered that?
record?
Broken record,
Yes.
yeah.
And then I think finally, if you're feeling confident, set a goal. It could be any goal, but goals generally will lead to a bit more focus and a bit more motivation. So set that goal. If it is just to download an app or whatever it may be, read 5 investing books this year, have a goal, have a focus, and you'll probably be surprised how enthused you will become once you get going.
Yes. What was your bumper sticker again?
We can invest our way to the lifestyle we want.
Invest the way to the life that you want.
Invest Yeah, something like that. Damn it, we'll have to we'll have to, invest your way to the lifestyle you want.
Nice.
Something like
That's
that.
good because it also encapsulates that it's personal. Invest your way to the life that you want.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, we will leave it there.